Hey, Cooper. Hello, Cooper. How are you, Cooper? Good to see you. Anyone can hear me? Florio from Cleveland. Hello, hello. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Happy Saturday. William, long time no see, bro. Good to see you. All right. Philip Steele, good to have you back, my friend. It's always nice to see familiar names in the place. Lee, all the way from the UK. How are you, Lee? Good to have you. Happy Saturday, everybody. Oh, we have somebody from Alberta. Hello, hello. Trini Smile. Yeah. Hi, Trini Smile. David Baker, hello. Matthew, we're neighbors. From Murphy, Texas. Wow, you are really close to me. Matthew, did you see that crazy hail that we had yesterday? We had hail yesterday. It tore up like some of my plants. Like my pear were like damaged. I have a whole bunch of pears that were kind of like bruised from the. Yeah, we got some too. It's crazy. So the pears that I had were like bruised. So this morning I had to come out and pick a bunch of the little fruits off because damaged fruits are bad fruits. Cooper, hail is those little the rain that has ice that fall. So it's ice rain. That's what hail is. What the hell is hail? Oh, Cooper, you're funny. Yeah. So Matthew, my mustard plants, my Chinese cabbage, because they span out like this, and when the ice fall on them, it crushed a bunch of the leaves, and a lot of my persimmons, the leaves were damaged because the hail were falling on it. It's crazy. That's Texas weather for you right there. And then today is like 80 degrees already. Really, really hot. Eddie, the pears are really small. They're not ready for brandy yet. Oh no, the holes in your squash. Oh man, that's terrible. The cutes too? Man, damaged cutes are no good. Ponton, hello, hello. Philip, I started seeds too, but sometimes when I go to Lowe's and Home Depot, I always pick up a few plants. So yeah, you're not the only one. I'll pick some up too. How can there be hail in Texas, Cooper? I don't know. It's crazy. Just we just got it yesterday. Weird. Mr. Jimmy Pickles, hello. Good to see you. Krista, welcome back. Oh, Kyle, you want to see my whiskey collection? Uh, Kyle, did you see the video that I made? I showed it in one of the videos. Let me find it for you real quick and see if I still have it. Let me find the whiskey collection for I don't remember which one it was. I'll have to look for it later. So I forgot which video. It was one of the question and answer video that I made, and I gave a small tour of my whiskey room. So anyway, happy Saturday, everybody. Good afternoon or good morning, good evening, wherever you're from. And again, I don't have anything planned as usual. Just wanted to come on and chat real quick, maybe answer questions. Oh yeah, today I harvested some Chinese mustard greens. So I'm gonna be making some mustard green pickles. Hopefully it'll turn out good. I'm gonna try to make a video on that. Floria, what am I drinking today? I am having a blood and honey beer. This is by Revolver, and it is a local in Texas. So it's a really good beer, local here. So I love local beers because you know, support your local community, and also it's really good. Einstein Alberto, welcome back, my friend. Good to see you. Hi, MS. Thank you. Thank you for that. Yeah, I grow a lot of hydroponic all season. Right now, I'm growing Chinese cabbage and Chinese mustard in hydroponics. I'm also growing tomatoes in hydroponic, and I'm doing it outside. It's in my it's using a solar power air pump to feed air into the systems, and it's going great. You know, I'm getting a ton of tomatoes, and there. I mean, it's ridiculous because it's so easy. I just place it there, and just wait, and then the plants just grow. Are the Scotch bonnet plants slow growers compared to the Trinidad scorpion? Actually, no. They should grow around the same. Actually, the Scotch bonnet may even grow faster than the Trinidad scorpion. Scotch bonnets are really easy plants to grow. They grow super big. They produce a lot, and if you give them the right environment, they grow pretty fast. And Scotch bonnets are actually my favorite. I love those things. My Scotch bonnets are a lot slower than my scorpions, hydroponic and soil. Really strange. When I grow Scotch bonnet and other super hots, the Scotch bonnets always grow pretty fast or around the same time. You're doing perilla in, oh man, I love perilla. I grow it all the time. They call it shiso in Japanese. So if you're growing shiso, it's awesome. You know, all you have to do is grow it one time because they grow back. The perilla, they just grow back forever and ever. Right now, I have perilla growing all over my yard. All I have to do is go out there, pick a few off of the ground, and put it into the raised beds. Habanero and Scotch bonnets are basically almost the same. Slightly different in flavor, but the growth habit is very much the same. I think habaneros are much more forgiving. They're really easy. So even if you mistreat them, they still grow really well. Pyro, Belgium has the best wheat beer, the best wheat beer. Belgium wheat, one of my favorite. Cheers, everybody. Let's see. Sorry for the repeat question. I started some broccoli and cauliflower from seeds. When do I need to call it and try another seeds in its place? Broccoli and cauliflower really love the cool months. So make sure you start them in the cooler months, because if you don't, they're not going to grow well, and they're not going to develop that really nice, you know, the head for you. They should take around, you know, like 7 to 10 days to sprout, but it does take a few months for them to actually grow to a larger plant. GTF for life. Hello, hello. Good to see you as a familiar face. Is there a way to increase variegation? You know what? I don't know because I haven't experimented with those yet because I tried to grow. Actually, I'll show you something that I'm growing that is variegated right now. Here's my pepper in the can. This is a purple variety, and it does have, when it produces flowers, you see these beautiful pink, white flowers, and then the leaves sometimes turn white, and it has some of these variegations, so it's really, really super cool. The fruits are amazing too. It started out purple and it almost turned kind of black, and then when it ripes, it turns red. So it's pretty cool. So that's one of the variegation that I'm growing. How old is that plant? I think it's maybe 4 or 5 weeks. I forgot, but it's not that old. The one in the can is called I think it's called a pink tiger. And I got seeds from trade a long time ago with my friend Charles. Charles from Houston. He grows a ton of stuff. He used to do a lot of updates, but he hasn't done it in a while. Yeah, Matt, I did a lot of bonsai with peppers. It's actually pretty cool, like a bonsai type, and you can shape it really easily too. Aaron, good afternoon, Aaron. Happy sunny day. How's California? Weather's great. Uh, let's see. Will peppers go into fruiting mode early if they become root bounded and aren't potted up? Yes, they do. Peppers will produce fruits very early if they become root bounded. Like if you grow them in a small containers, they're gonna produce when they're like this size. You see flowers already. So yes, the more space you give it, the more room the roots can stretch and the bigger they will grow. As soon as they start to sense that there's no more room to grow and become root bounded, they will start to push flowers. Freaky geek, you survived 2020. I'm glad you did. Jeffrey, yeah, I saw a Chili Chumps video and he mentioned the lemon starburst. I'm very happy about that. Sean is an amazing grower, as you can see. I mean, and now that he has that new plot of land, oh man, I can't wait to see what he's gonna do with all that space. But yeah, I watch Sean's videos all the time. He makes amazing videos. It's almost like professional quality, and I love his demeanor too. So I always watch him. He's one of my favorite. Green Man, thank you so much, my friend. Ito, welcome. Hello from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Hello. What's my plan for the weekend? You know what? I did a lot of gardening this morning. So I grew a lot of cover crops over the winter, like a lot of herbs like cress. If you guys ever grown garden cress, they are really awesome plants to grow, sort of like as cover crops, because they will grow through the winter, regardless of how cold it is. Even the snowstorm that we had in 2020 in February didn't kill it. I had a ton of cress, and now they are so massive and everywhere. So I had to chop them down, and I cut them into small pieces, and I placed them in the raised bed for the worm. So I did a lot of work this morning, cleaning up the raised beds, cutting out the old plants, and feeding my worms with it. Yeah, so that's my weekend work. A lot of exercise, so it's nice. Let's see. I'll go and read some of the comments and answer. Uh, yes, I had a few rabbits visiting already. I saw two bunnies coming by a few days ago, and I saw one yesterday. Yeah, they already started coming. I think they may have been born in my garden. Sometimes, sometimes they're in the garden and they have babies, and you can't even find them. Sometimes they're very difficult to find. But all of a sudden, you see them running all over, and they're babies. So I will have more. Right now, April and May is the time when they start to multiply. So I'm probably gonna see a ton of bunnies very soon. Usually in May is when I start to see them in my raised bed. So last year, these crazy bunnies, they picked like my favorite raised bed to have babies, and so they dug a hole right in the middle of my raised bed, of my arugula bed, and I love arugula. And I have to sacrifice the entire bed because if I water the raised bed, the bunny is gonna maybe hurt. So I had to leave the raised bed for them, and the whole thing dried up. I lost the whole garden, my whole raised bed of arugula because of the bunnies. And then after like maybe 21 days, six of the bunnies, just hopping around everywhere, and they do eat your plants too. Oh, so yeah, the bunnies that I found last week, they ate all of my baby asparagus. I don't know why. Of all of the plants, they only chew the asparagus. So your meat raised rabbit we got loose in the greenhouse. Yeah, they'll eat your greenhouse. Yeah, sometimes I grow extra plants because I know they're gonna eat them, and so I always have backups. Sometimes I would, if I know where they're gonna be most of the times, then that's the area that I grow the extra plants so they can eat that area and not leave my other areas alone. Hello, Marcelo from Argentina. Hello, hello. Welcome. Happy Saturday. Yeah, Jimmy Pickles, I tried that. I tried the ammonia. I even tried the stuff that they sell in the stores. But then, they work for a few days and they stop. So I just stopped bugging, I stopped using it. As long as they don't eat all of my plants, I'm fine. Sometimes the only problem is that they eat the baby plants. So usually when I transplant the peppers early, they'll eat it, and then that's the end of my peppers. So usually I wait a little bit longer to allow them to grow a little bit, and then I transplant them. Sheep wool, interesting. The stinky stuff. Krista, I think that may the pee is what the type of ammonia that could scare away the animals. Like if you have a fox urine around your raised bed, or some kind of predator that the rabbits are afraid of, and if you put their urine around it, yeah, it does scare them away. They can sense it. Jeff, do I start seeds all year long? Yes, because I'm able to grow some inside and some outside. So yeah, you can pretty much say I do start seeds all year. But as far as outside, usually in the summers, I grow a lot of peppers, I grow melons, I grow watermelons. And then in the winter, I grow, like vegetable greens like lettuce and stuff like that because they can withstand cooler temperature. And also, I grow a lot of radishes, and radishes prefer the cool months. So it's seasonal on some things, and there's some things that I grow all year. Drew, thank you so much, my friend. I'm glad you're back. Good to see you. Drew, if you have Instagram, message me on Instagram. I'll send you some lemon starburst. How did I do in the recent freeze? You know, Matthew, the freeze didn't do too much damage to my plants. Amazingly, I grew a lot of spinach, and I grew a lot of radishes. I grew a lot of cress, and like perpetual spinach and all these other stuff. And man, those things are like they just didn't die at all. They just came right back after the snow is lifted, and they're all alive again. Etho, thank you so much for the donation. Oscar, thank you, my friend. Have a great weekend. Thank you very much for the donation. Yeah, so I did have a lot of damage when like let's see, a lot of my radishes like that didn't, the bulbs got froze up because they kind of like came out of the soil, and and those were all dead. But my garden cress, man, they grew amazing. A lot of the onions were alive. I think some of my garlic were fine, and a bunch of other stuff were just, yeah, I was so amazed that spinach plants that I grew, even with all of the snow covering the entire plant for like 2 or 3 days, the spinach came out looking like it didn't have any snow on it. Spinach are just crazy. They don't care about any freezing weather. They look exactly the same before the freeze and after the freeze. Yes, and Swiss chard too. I have a few Swiss chard, and I have a few perpetual spinach, and those things the leaves were bruised. The large leaf were bruised, but then when I cut it back, they came right back to life. All of my arugula didn't have any problem, so I had a ton of arugula that still survived, and also cilantro came right back like nothing happened. And of course, as far as trees, like my Asian pear trees, my persimmons, those they can survive down to like -10 degrees, so they're fine. So yeah, nothing bad happened to a lot of them. Something about gardening, you're making some crosses, and you want to know if you can make something with my lemon starburst. Of course, you can do, whatever you use the cross to cross it with something else. I would love to see the result. I think a few people have done it already. A friend of mine, he crossed a lemon starburst with something else, and he sent me some seeds, and I'm actually growing right now in the aero garden right over there. He called it the fire blast. It looks pretty cool. Yeah, definitely. Make something with the lemon starburst, and show me the result. I would love to see it. Yeah, some of those Swiss chards are really tough. They're just amazing plants. My beets, the only one that I was really sad about was my 3-year-old beet plants. I had a 3-year-old beet that was killed during the storm. Other than that, everything was just fine. Julio, yes, I love growing peppers too. Peppers are one of those, just one of those plants that when you grow one plant, next season you're gonna grow 5 plants, and then the season after that you're gonna grow 20 plants. So it's very addicting, but also it's like you spend a lot of time tending to the plants. You almost learn something every season, but also when you grow peppers, it's gonna lead you to growing other things. And gardening in general is going to make you a lot happier. For me, like it kind of improves your health, but also it makes you eat better, because when you grow your own things, you almost like when you eat it feels, there's a satisfaction that I can't explain. So when these are just healthy greens, and it leads you to doing so many other things, but it also makes you more environmental conscious, like doing things to not harm the environment, stuff like that. So gardening will lead you to all of that. GTF4, blood sorrel, we call it red vein sorrel, and those things will survive through the snow too. My red vein sorrel survived, and now is a enormous bush, and they're perennial, so every year they come back bigger and bigger. Oh, and also sage, like garden sage and rosemary, they will survive a frost. Yeah, holly is very, very addicting. You're gonna want to grow a ton more. Also, when you grow your peppers, it actually tastes better too because you know, when you go outside and you pick it and you eat it right away, the flavor is just so much better than what you got in the stores. Because sometimes things that you buy in the stores, they have to pick them early and then they have to ship it here. And by the time they ship it here, that's how it starts to turn color. But if you pick it at the perfect stage where it's ready to eat and you eat it right away, oh man, there's nothing that can compare to it. So yeah, grow your own stuff. It's really amazing. If you have never grown anything before and it's your first time, I would suggest growing some herbs. Herbs are really easy, like basil are really easy. They grow really fast. Um, let's see what else are really easy. Like, oh, I grew a bunch of radishes this year, and they're very easy too. You can directly sow them into your raised beds, but it's seasonal, so you have to make sure you have enough time, like 30 days of cool temperature between 50 to 65 degrees Fahrenheit. It's perfect for growing radishes. Lettuce are really easy. If you grow lettuce one time, you can grow lettuce forever because if you let one plant go to seed, the seeds will drop and they will grow back every season. So you can just pick it out of your grass and grow it. Lettuce seeds are like I would compare it to like dandelions, where they become this little fuzz, and then the wind blow them, they fly off, and then they land somewhere, and they'll sprout. Beardy, thank you so much for the donation, my friend. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, so lettuce seeds are really cool. Romaines are amazing. So grow some romaine. And you know what? Romaine grows amazing in hydroponic. All you need is 1 gallon of water and nutrients. Sometimes you don't even have to pH it. They'll just grow. So keep it as simple as possible. Check some of my recent video on how to grow lettuce. Basically, I put 5 milliliter of my AeroGarden plant food. You don't have to use AeroGarden plant food. You can use like the DynaGrow series. 5 milliliter per gallon of water. Put the plant on top and just wait 30 days, and you get enormous, gigantic lettuce that is really delicious too. Well, they grow in hydroponic. They just look so fresh and crunchy. And when you see them grow, you're like, wow, this is amazing. So if you have never done a hydroponic before, start with romaine lettuce and check out some of my videos on how to grow romaine lettuce. I keep it so simple, guys, because I want people to not be afraid to try it, because hydroponic can be very complicated, but you can also make it very simple. So start with the simple method, and then you can make it complicated as you begin to learn how to do it better. So yeah, I highly suggest it. Especially if you live in the cities. If you live in the cities like New York, Chicago, like in the busy cities where you really don't have a yard to grow anything in. If you have a window where you can get a lot of sun, you can grow it that way. And if you don't have a window, you can buy some grow lights. They're really cheap, and put it inside in your living room, inside your bedroom, maybe in the closet, and you can grow like a ton of lettuce. I guarantee it. You can grow so much lettuce that you don't have to buy them anymore. Do you have a favorite hot pepper varieties? Yes, I have many. Let's say the sweet varieties. I love the sweet apples, the California Wonder Bells. I love Brazilian starfish. They're sweet but also spicy. I love the sugar rush, kind of sweet and spicy. I love the biquinos. Biquinos are great. The hot ones, I love Scotch bonnets. I do love the regular habanero too because they're very versatile plants. You can use them in anything. I make a lot of salsa, so I also grow a lot of jalapenos. Um, let's see, the white ties, man. I grow white tie. I don't know how many times I talk about the white tie, but I never go without 5 plants. I always grow at least 5 to 10 plants. Do I like sour beers? You know what? To be honest, I haven't had any sour beers yet, but I do love IPA. I do love the blonde beers, um, and the a lot of the dark beer, like the Guinness Stout. I love those too. So yeah, I love all kinds of stuff, and whiskey, of course. Just an all, I just appreciate everything. Yes, GTF for life. One white tie is enough. But the funny thing is, uh, if you're a pepper gardener, you never grow one plant. Even though one plant is enough, you never grow one plant. You grow a ton of plants because most of them will go to your friends and family. And a lot of the things that I grow, I can't use them all, but I grow them. And that's the thing about being a gardener. You always share all the stuff that you grow with other people. You always grow more than you can use. I don't know why. I guess that's just how it is. Mark Garcia, hello, hello. Have I ever tried to make bonsai? Marcus, yes, I have tried to make bonsai all the time. One time I had a bonsai, but I also had grafted varieties on it. Like I had a plant that has 6, actually 9 different varieties on it that I grafted, and I made it into like it's sort of like a bonsai. It looks pretty cool, but I grew it in air garden. I trim it and trim and trim it, and I kept it really, really small and bushy. Yes, Chatsu, yes, and make hot sauce. I love making hot sauce, even though I make too much. I usually give most of my hot sauce away because 1 or 2 bottles would last me for a while. But I make so much, and I also make dried pepper powder, and those will last me for like a year. I mean, I can't use them up. Like say for example, if you make Reaper powder, I mean, there's no way you can eat like a whole jar of Reaper powder, so it'll last for a long time. And I dried a lot of stuff. Like I make dried rosemary, dried sage, dried herbs, all kinds of dry stuff. Yes, I make fermented hot sauce all the time. So fermented hot sauce is actually one of my favorite way to make it. And the funny thing is, I make the fermented hot sauce using my leftover whiskey bottles. They're excellent containers for a fermented hot sauce. Yeah, Julio, you're only able to use a pinch, that's for sure. If you use too much, man, you'll be like, you probably can't eat it. KD, thank you so much. You're welcome. I'm glad I helped. Yeah, through this pandemic, we do need to do a lot of things to keep our minds busy. So growing is one of the things that have really helped me make it through. Being at home all the time, it does have an emotional effect on you. Not being able to socialize will also cause you to have some emotional effects. So like seeing green things, growing stuff, it does help, kind of like enhance your mood and helps you, kind of like become better emotionally. So a lot of the times that I grow indoors, and seeing my plants grow, and just seeing greens and stuff like that, it does help a lot. So guys, get out there and start growing if you need to, make the time fly by. Grow some stuff, grow some plants, grow some herbs, grow some ornamental plants, or whatever you're growing. It's just going to help you. You know what? Right now, I am growing melons. So I'm growing melons hydroponically. So I have a video that I'm making right now. So once the melon is ready, I'm going to show it to you guys. It's so cool and so easy. I'm growing the Japanese melon called the Ichibana Kochi, and it's a really cool type of melon. And in Japan, these are the melons that cost $400 to $500 each, whether they baby the melon and all that stuff. So yeah, it's really cool. But I'm not doing to that extent, but I'm growing the same type of melons. And right now I have a ton of little baby fruits already. I had to hand pollinate it because you grow it inside. When you grow inside, there's no bees, there's no bug to help the pollination for your melons. So you actually have to like get the male flower and pollinate the female flower on your own. So I think in another 20 or 30 days, I will release the video so you can see it. It's amazing. It's so easy. Oh, TN Bushcrafter, you're watching Van Duzy, Mike Van Duzy's video. Yeah, Mike does some amazing things. He makes things really simple. His channel is very friendly also, so it's a great hydroponic resource to learn. I do like Mike's videos. I am in zone 8A, Rob. 8A. We are now in the 80 degrees Fahrenheit and really, really hot and sunny. Any tips on growing cantaloupes? Cantaloupes prefer really warm weather. If you grown in a garden, you can allow them to crawl. But if you want to save space, you can trellis them up. So cantaloupes can sometimes grow out of control. If you have a lot of space, just let them grow. If you have very little space, you kind of have to prune the extra side vines and only allow one fruit per side vines. And if you allow too many fruits, the fruits are going to be very small. So yeah, sometimes when we grow cantaloupes or melon, we want to have a lot of fruits. But the thing is, you're trying to control the amount of fruits that you can have on the vine. That way you get large and good quality fruits. So don't let them fruit too many. If you want many, then grow multiple plants. It's better that way. Do you grow avocado? Yes, I grow avocado, and one of my trees just died from the frost that we had. Even when I took it into the garage, they couldn't live. It was too cold in the garage. I think my garage dropped down to like 19 degrees Fahrenheit, something like that for an extended period. And so every tree that couldn't make it down to freezing, they just died. So yeah, I lost my avocado tree. I lost my lime tree. My lemon tree, I lost a huge part of it. It's starting to come back from the bottom right now. So yeah, that crazy freeze that we had recently was just out of the ordinary. It's not it's unusual. So a lot of my trees were dead. What are two of my favorite flavors? I love the sweetness and the fruitiness of it, and sweetness like if you have you tried the Brazilian starfish? That kind of sweetness. It almost tastes like a fruit, and then you have that peppery kick, and that's the flavor that I really like. I love the super hots too because they do have that slight tropicalness to them, fruitiness, and there's a lot of sweetness to them. And the flavor is just really different. Most people don't eat super hots, so they don't know the flavor and how good it is. But once you tried it, I think you're gonna get hooked. But you have to get over the heat, so you got to eat a little at a time, or try to build up your tolerance. But super hots are really good varieties of peppers to grow because there's so many different kinds. Like the Ghost has a totally different taste from the like a Scotch Bonnets or the Reapers and stuff like that. The ghost pepper tend to have a really floral aroma, and that kind of like I don't really like that aroma, but I do make it into powder, and then it's better in powder form. Yeah, TN, the Brazilian starfish are awesome. I love those peppers. Sometimes I work in the yard and I just eat them as I work because they're really pretty. They look like a little starfish. and the texture is just awesome. It's so crunchy and sweet. Yes, ghost pepper tastes great as powder, but when you eat them raw, they don't taste that good. They have this kind of like metallic taste for me, and also the aroma it's like smelling of flour. I did try my hands at bonsai. I did bonsai for peppers, and those are pretty cool. I'm trying to read some of the comments that I missed. Sometimes I just talk and I forget. Julio, yes, I do make a lot of compost. A lot of my vegetables that I don't use, or like the older parts of the vegetable, I throw all those in my compost. And a lot of the plants that are, like I did this morning, I cut a bunch of plants down. All of those went into my compost. So I make compost every season. And also, like, banana peels and stuff that you can find the house around the house, I throw all those in the compost, and then I feed those to my plants later. So yeah, if you have a compost bin, just throw it in there and just wait. Every season you have a bunch of stuff like leaves and weed that you cut and all that stuff. I also grow a few bushes of what is it? Comfrey, yes, comfrey. I grow a few bushes, and those comfreys are just amazing. They're just crazy plants. They grow all the time, and there's nothing can kill it. And the leaves can get like massive, and I just rip off the leaves and I put it into my compost, and they make great compost. And the worms just love eating those those broken down leaves. K-drop, that's great. Your peppers are growing like crazy. I'm glad to hear that. What are your thoughts on fabric pots? I do like the fabric pots. The advantage of the fabric pots is the air pruning process. So like, say for example, if you have like a 5 gallons pepper inside a fabric pot, if you use a regular pot, sometimes the root get bounded. They get root bounded because they keep growing and keep growing. They circle around the pots, and sometimes they could choke themselves. And with the fabric pots, the pepper plants kind of trying to poke the roots through the pots, and then as soon as they get exposed to air, it kills the roots. So the roots just die and it grows new roots. So it promotes new roots, and it prevents from root bounding. So in that sense, it's really good. And also it's easy to store, and you can fold it and you can wash it, and then store it every season. The one thing I don't like about it is because I live in Texas, the weather here is just ridiculous. And if I have I use fabric pots, and man, my plants dry up so fast. Even if I pack the pots with a lot of soil, they still get really dry. And so I have to buy like a dish, like a saucer to put at the bottom um, of the fabric pot in order to water and then retain the water. Because sometimes if you mix your soil wrong inside the fabric pots, as soon as you water, they leak right out to the side. So you lose all that water. So you got to have a saucer to kind of retain that water. So if you let it dry too much, that's what happens when you water it. All of the water escapes, and then the bottom never get any water. But then you water so often, so that's the problem. It dries up so fast that it causes water to run off. So you have to have a saucer at the bottom to keep the water to keep the water back. But yeah, fabric pots are cool. They're cheap. They last a few years. They're easy to store. They help with prevent root bound and air pruning, which promotes new roots to grow. Those are all great. Hope that answered your question. Have I ever tried flood and drain method? No, I haven't. I actually, most of the times when I do hydroponic, I keep things really simple because I don't want to, as soon as I set it down, I don't want to touch it again except to change or to add nutrients. So the flood and drain method I haven't tried, but it seems like it works well. One second, please. You've been growing chilies indoors because it's quite cold, but the sun damages the leaves in 15 minutes. Oh yes, if you have your plants inside all the time, all that time, and then it gets hot, you have to slowly introduce the plants. It's called getting the plants acclimated. So you put it out in the sun for like 15 minutes, you take it in, and then the next day put it for 20 minutes, take it in, and the next day put it a little bit longer, and eventually the leaves will get adjusted to the outside condition and they won't burn. So it's a good idea to do that if your plants have been inside for so long. Also, if you bring out your baby plant, you know, baby plants can stand the crazy conditions better than the large plants. Or you know, sometimes what yeah, hardening off, that's what it's called. You got to hardening off and getting acclimated and acclimatized or whatever that is. But they have to be adjusted. Not only the sun, the wind can also damage your leaves too, because when you grow inside, the leaves are very tender. And then when you take it outside, all of a sudden you get sun, but also the wind. The wind would dry up the leaves, and it also would damage your leaves. So you have to monitor and slowly introduce it. Don't just put it outside right away, and then your plant will be dead. So put it in for 15 minutes, take it inside, and next day put it for 20 minutes and take it in, and then repeat that for like a week, and you're all set. What's your favorite fertilizer for pepper plants right now, Rob? I use right now, and for the past few years, I use the Alaskan fish emulsion, and that's what I've been using. I keep things very simple. I just mix a good batch of soil at the beginning of the season, and then throughout the season, if I need to fertilize, I use the fish fertilizer. I mix like 1 tablespoon per gallon of water, and then I water my plants, and that's all I do, and that's it. Keep it really simple. And man, those things are great, but they smell really bad. Mark Poole, can I dry chilies and make powder from the frozen chilies? Yes, you can. People have done it. I usually don't because I like to dry this chili when they're fresh. When they're frozen, I just keep them frozen, and those are the ones I use for like making hot sauce, or I cook with them. But yeah, if you want to, you can you know, take it out, unfreeze them, and then put them into the dryer, and they would, and make sure you slowly dry them, and then that would be fine. But the thing with chili is that if you freeze them, they become mushy when you unfreeze them. And that's the reason why I don't use them as powder. Is this pepper X thing really an existing pepper, or is really a made up to create interest in upcoming pepper show? You know what? There, I have heard about the pepper X for many years now, and the only thing that I know is that the pepper X is used in a sauce. They call it, what is it, the last dab or something? That's as far as I know. So I think it's real. It's just the public don't have access to the seeds because they're not released. I think they're not released to the public. So that's, but I think it is real. Yeah, I know. I think once they release it, people are gonna go crazy because that's supposedly. Uh, It's unofficial. Supposedly, unofficially, that is the hottest, but maybe hotter than the Reapers. I'm not sure. But as far as record goes, the Reaper is still the champ. I love the Reaper, guys. Not because it is the hottest pepper in the world, but it is a very beautiful pepper. If you have grown a Reaper plant, it's a very pretty plant, and the pods are just, man. There's something about the bright redness, and the pods are not very big, but it has that crazy stingers that looks just ridiculous. And I do love the Reapers. They're just really nice looking plants overall. Ed is refusing to release it, so there's no competition. I think there could also be a reason behind it. Say, let's for example, the Reaper is the champ right now. If for some reason somebody else come out and say they dethrone the Reapers, then Ed would have the Pepper X to come out and dethrone that. So maybe that could be the case. I'm not sure. But I think that would make sense. You don't want to release your hottest and then to beat your own hottest, while there's always people out there trying to beat your hottest. So you keep it a secret until somebody else dethrone you, and then you come back and remain on top. CC, thank you, new subscriber. Have I tried to grow kefir lime? Yes, I grow kefir lime in a pot because they will die in the freezing temperature. So you can grow kefir lime in a pot. Give it a really good, nice size pot, and give it the best thing for kefir lime is have it a mixture of soil that is really nice and soft, that also allows water to escape easily, but also retain some water. And oh, if you live in 9B, yeah, you could probably put it outside. They would do just fine. Um, Sometimes depends on where you are. Like where I live, our soil is all clay, so lime sometimes have problems growing. So I kind of elevate it. I have a big old perimeter around the lime tree, and I dig a little hole. I mean, a big hole, and I fill it in with really nice soil that are loose, and then I put the tree in, and then I surround it with a lot of loose soil. That way, it helps the roots move around. And once the roots move around and it gets stronger and stronger, it will be able to dig through the clay and keep itself stationed and really nice. Yeah, good soil is really good. Loose soil for baby plants, but as they get larger, the clay soil is okay. Do you think a pepper would ever get too hot to ever eat? Um, I have not seen a pepper that is too hot to eat. I guess the hottest one on record is the Reaper, and people are eating it like crazy. Um, I mean, the hotness is basically your body saying, "Oh man, you're not supposed to eat this." But it's as far as being harmful, I don't think it's that harmful if you eat it in a moderate amount. Yes, Holly, I do use grow bags. And as I mentioned earlier, the grow bags are great because it prevent the plants from being root bounded. And it also helps with air pruning, which is when the roots get exposed to air, where when they try to dig outside the pot, the air just kill the roots and keep it under control. And because the root get pruned, new roots will grow. And that's the bags really help with root growth and root development and preventing it from root bound. The only problem for me is because I grow them in Texas, and my condition is really hot sometimes, and my pots dry up quickly. So fabric pots are great. Sometimes they're not if your temperature is just too crazy hot and it dries up too quickly. Yeah, Eli, Johnny Scoville can eat 20 Reapers and be fine. Yeah, I I read an article where somebody ate a really hot pepper and it burned through his throat or something like that. And I think that's not real. It's hot. It feels like it's burning, but it doesn't burn your skin. It's just a reaction, and it's not actually, there's no chemical reaction. It's just a reaction to the taste bud sensing that there's capsaicin, and it tells your brain that it's hot and that it feels like it's burning. But peppers don't burn through your skin. How do I deal with my grow bags drying out so quickly? You can put a saucer at the bottom of the pot to catch the excess water. But also, if you have like a drip system is great when you have a fabric pot that allows the moisture to stay inside the pot, and it just drips slowly. You waste less water, and also it keeps it from drying out. But if you don't have a drip system, try to put a saucer at the bottom of the pot. They do sell those. And you can water from the bottom and allow the water to slowly soak up into the soil. And that will help, kind of like distribute the water throughout the pot without having any runoff and wasting water. Why won't your seeds sprout? Your seeds won't sprout. It could be because your seeds are really old. If it's let's say fresh seeds, like if you harvested like 6 months ago, usually those are considered fresh. Or like if you harvested last season, they would take around 7 to 10 days to sprout. If seeds that are over like a year old, they could take up to like two weeks to sprout. Sometimes when you buy them from companies, you don't know how long they have the seed stored. It could be over 2 years, and the germination would be really low. Like if you have 20 seeds, maybe 2 seeds will sprout. So if you're having trouble sprouting your seeds, what you should do is soak the seeds in water for like 12 hours or overnight before you plant them in soil, or use a paper towel method. Paper towel method is a really good way to help with germination, because the paper towel will hold the moisture on both sides, and you put the seeds in the middle, and that allows the seeds coating to soften up, and it can sprout easier. Yes, they do need heat to sprout. So if you're planting your seeds too early, like when the temperature is like low, more than likely they're not going to sprout. If the temperature is warmer, like in the 70 degrees, they will sprout very quickly. So yeah, you need to provide us with more information on what you're doing, but those are the things that can help you diagnose the problem. Any idea to keep root rot? You're using compost tea for cracking. When growing in hydroponic, usually stay away from organic matters like compost tea or whatever, because it's gonna become a mess and it's gonna smell. So when things become rotten, it's not gonna be nice. Especially in cracking, because there's no circulation, so this is going to cause like stagnation. So I wouldn't recommend doing that, but try it and let us know how it works. Fungus gnats, can rid of them. What's the best organic way? The best organic way, I mean, there's ways to get rid of fungus gnats. There's multiple different ways. And it also depends on the conditions, okay? So let's say your plants are large already. You have big plants. You have to understand how fungus gnats multiply and how they they can create new cycles. So fungus gnats are attracted to moisture and also organic matter. So if you have a pot and the pot is constantly moist at 2 inch above the a top layer of soil, fungus gnats will love that, and they will go in there and they will lay egg and they will multiply and multiply and multiply. So moisture and organic matter is what they thrive on. If your plants are really large, then the roots are really deep. What you can do to prevent it organically is keep the top 2 inch layer bone dry, and then that create a problem because they can't land in there and lay eggs, because they can't lay eggs in a dry soil, and then that will stop the cycle. Or you can put like a diatomaceous earth on top of dry soil. When they land on it, it sticks to them, it kills them. So that's one way. Another way is you can use mosquito bits. Mosquito bits, they don't label it organic, but it does qualify as organic. You mix it into soil in your water, and then you water your plants with it. And what it does, it kills the fungus larvae. And you have to repeat the process, because once it kills the larvae, the large flying fungus gnats can also come back in and start over. So you have to apply it again. So you do it for like about a week, and then they should be gone. Once you kill the larvae, they can't hatch to adults, and then the cycle stops. Yep, people have some good suggestions there. Mosquito bits, it works really well. It works on fungus gnats. It works on mosquitoes too, actually. Yeah, somebody mentioned it. Mosquito bits is basically DE, B, or some kind of bacteria. It's a type of bacteria that feeds on the larvae of the fungus gnats and kill them off. It's a natural occurring bacteria. Yes, the crazy frost did get me. It killed a bunch of my plants. It killed a bunch of my trees, but most of everything survived. The cold weather plants, they survived. Wow, we have 107 people, guys. Thank you so much for joining this afternoon. It's good to have you all. Yeah, that's right. BT, that's what it was. BT can also be used for like caterpillars and stuff too. But also, a way to prevent fungus gnats is using the type of soil. Like I mentioned in many of my videos, I grow inside all the time. And this season, I haven't had fungus gnats problem because I used the type of soil that, the bags are really enclosed. There's no holes and stuff like that. I use a Pro Mix. It's a red bag. It's kind of like a seed starting mix. And that worked really well. I mean, I have not had any fungus gnats problem unless I bring the plants from the outside. If you bring plants from the outside inside, you're gonna get fungus gnats. You could also get like aphids and other pests too when you bring stuff from the outside inside. What do you suggest for super strong roots? Super strong roots can happen naturally if you give the plants enough light. They will develop a really strong stem, but also a really powerful root system. But also, if you can feed the roots from the bottom, like you feed your plants from the bottom, it does allow the roots to crawl down and gather the nutrients. So it does help with the root development too. So feed your plants from the bottom and keep the top dry, and that will help you help your plants develop a really nice root system. What are my thoughts on nematodes for severe fungus gnats? I've seen people use nematodes and stuff like that, but for me personally, I don't. I use mosquito bits sometimes, but I use preventive measure this year and didn't have any problem with it. GS, you having slug problem? There's a product called Sluggo, and it works wonderful. If you have slugs, get some Sluggo Plus or Sluggo, and put it around your plant. You're never gonna have another slugs eat your plants again. I used that past season and this season, and it works great. Rex, that's great. The double cup method is really fun. It becomes cumbersome when you put too many plants. If you have like 2 or 3 plants, the double cup is great. It's clean, it's easy, and your plants grows great. But if you have like hundreds of plants or 50 plants, it becomes like a nightmare. Cece, yes, beer works. If you put a cup of beer next to your plants, the slug will go to the beer and they would drown. It works very well. I tried it all the time. It works, and I can confirm that for sure. No, you can use the cheap beers. Like, don't use the expensive beers. Your dogs would like a free beers too. What nutrient supplements do you use for growing plants in water? I use many different kinds, but my favorite is the AeroGarden plant food and the Dynagrow series. And the reason for that is because they're very easy to use. There's only one part. You just drop it in, there's no multiple parts where you use to mix together. It's just one part. And I love it. 5 milliliter per gallon and you're set. The easier, the better. Who has old beer? Beer, like for example, leftover beer. Maybe you open a can and you didn't finish your beer. Use the leftover for your garden slugs. Marcus, yes, I do use master blends, and I actually love master blend because it's very cost effective. It's really cheap. You buy those by the pound, and I'm telling you, 1 pound will go a long way. It's very cheap. So yes, master blend works great for peppers. It works great for tomatoes. It works great for uh, all the herbs and the veggie greens and all that stuff. It even works on my grass. I use it on my grass too. So yeah, master blend works everything on everything. Chasing Live, you love the Pro Mix. Yes, I love the Pro Mix too, and I use it, because to prevent fungus gnats, and it works great. It's very fluffy. It also retains moisture really well. But here's the problem. There's a trick. If you grow in a really small container and you pack the Pro Mix too tight, it will keep too much moisture that it will prevent the roots from growing. So you have to be very careful with that. But normal containers and stuff like that is fine. They use, it's a really nice fluffy soil, very soft. You can mix it too. You can use it to mix with your garden soil. um, Like I buy soil by the cubic yard from my local landscaping center, and I put a little bit of pro mix in there. I put some perlite and vermiculite. I mix it up, and man, my plants love it. And it's a cheap way to buy to get soil that way, to get it from your local landscaping place. Have you planned your next experiment? You just bought a bag of is that like mycorrhiza? I think my baby is about to wake up. Wow, we have 123 people in here. Thank you guys. Thank you for joining. Eggshells are great to use. The thing is, it's better if you crush it down really fine into the soil. That's how it can break down and become calcium to feed the soil. But like if you just throw the eggshells in the soil, it really doesn't work that well until it becomes broken down. So usually what I do is I use a grinder, and I'll dry the eggshells first, and I grind it up into powder, and I mix it into my soil, and that works. So yeah, if you're going to use eggshells, make sure it's really fine powder, because if you just throw the eggshells into the soil, it's not going to break down for a long time, and it's not going to be available for your plants until a long time later. Yeah, eggshells, banana peels, crush them up, grind them down, and it'll be immediately available for your soil. It's a good way to do that. What type of soil fertilizer do I use for my raised bed? I use the Alaskan fish fertilizer. Those works really well, and I've been using it for the past few years, and that's really the only thing that I use besides a good mixture of soil, but also worm casting. I love worm castings, and there's nothing better than worm casting. What about the white grubs you see in the ground when you dig them up? Those could be like mosquito larvae. They're grubs. If you have only a few, it's not a problem. They do eat the roots of your plants. But if you have a few, it's fine. But if you have a lot of them, you need to get rid of them. Dig up the soil and dig them out, because they do feed on the roots of your plants, and they will kill them from underneath. And then also, once they become beetles, they can also damage your plants. They eat your plants, and then they lay egg, and then the process starts over. Are worms safe to put in flower pots? Yes, but the problem is if you put them in the flower pots and the pots become too dry, it could harm the worms. So you gotta keep the pots constantly moistened, but not super wet. So that's the thing with worm. They're great for all kinds of plants, but you got to try to keep them alive by having the soil constantly in a very moisture, so that the worms can move around and live. If it dries up, the worms are going to die, and then it's not going to do anything. What are the roly-polies? Are they woodlice? Yes, roly-polies are the same as woodlice. Some places call them woodlice. Some places call them pillsbugs. Some places call them roly-polies. They overall, they are not bad for your garden. They're actually beneficial bugs because they break down organic matter uh, in the garden. But sometimes they do eat your plants, like the leaves of your plants. But there's a way to kind of like you know attract them into a different area. All you have to do is put a bunch of dead matters in a pile somewhere near your plants, and they will go through the pile instead of your plants. But yes, they do eat the small plants. But you don't want to get rid of all of them. I want to try brassica hydroponic. Like brassica, like are you talking about like cabbages or what brassica? Brassica would do great in hydroponic. Cabbages, mustards, any kind. They'll do really well. They will prosper in hydroponic. Philip, your son ate a roly poly for $10. Oh my goodness. What? How does he feel? What happened? Uh, Sweeter than tea, yes. Brassica will do fine in hydroponic most of the times. There's not ones that I can tell that would not work in hydroponic. Cabbages will work. Broccoli will work. Cauliflowers will work. But I would grow cauliflowers and broccoli in soil. They're probably less maintenance in soil. But like mustard plants, I'm actually growing mustard right now, the Chinese mustard, which is in the brassica family, and they are amazing. I just made a video recently. They grow crazy. They're huge. Philip, I had no idea that you can eat roly polies. I would never imagine of trying it. Chris, howdy, Chris. Hello, sir. Hey, Chris. I need to update you on my tomato plant in the MTN garden. It is doing amazing right now. There are a ton of fruits, like hundreds of flowers right now already. I need to show you a picture, maybe a short video clip. Guys, I'm talking to Chris Bransdaw. Chris is the one that sent me the homemade hydroponic system that he created out of 3D printing. And Chris and I are challenging each other on a grow off. We're growing tomato plant called a hundreds and thousand in the unit, and we're going to compare results at the end of the season or whenever. And it's growing. Man, my plant is right here, right next to me right now. It's growing amazing. I wish I could turn the camera around and show y'all. It has like lots of tomatoes right now, little bitty ones. GS, I grow tatsoi every season. I'm growing tatsois in hydroponic. I'm growing tatsoi in the garden. I love them in hydroponic because they grow so fast and they grow crazy huge. Yeah, I made a few videos on tatsoi actually. Yes, I did grow a sugar rush. Red Cat, if you browse my channel, you will see that you will see a what the pepper video review that I did on the sugar rush. They're amazing plants. They grow like weeds. They're very tough. All right, Chris, tomorrow, yeah, let's do that. Let's hook up tomorrow. I'll show you the plants. See you later, Chris. Have a good one. Okay, everyone. I have to run now. My baby's awake. So thank you so much for joining me. Have a great afternoon, and we'll try to do this again soon. Bye now.